How you guys doing today? Has anyone heard of BB&T? Familiar with BB&T a little bit?
Yes.
Okay.
Who makes a BB&T?
I have a mortgage on my home equity line of credit.
Okay. We thank you. So we just wanted to we'll give a quick overview of ourselves and give a quick overview of BB&T. Because even though we've been around since 1872, we're actually kind of fairly new in Florida. We came into Florida as an acquisition back in 2004. But again, I said we've been in business since 1872. And we just don't do banking. We do insurance. We're the 5th largest insurance broker in the world. So we're going to talk about insurance, life insurance, renter's insurance, homeowner's insurance as part of step 4 of the process of 5 steps of financial freedom. We also do investments. We do lending. We are a full-service bank. The best way to describe us is we operate like a ViStar, like a community first. So we're a local regional bank. We have that regional community bank feel, but we're as large as the Wells Fargo's, the Bank of America's. So we have the power to do large-scale transactions, but you still have that small community bank feel. And that's what really makes BB&T different from the rest of the financial institutions. And so we'll talk a little bit about 5 steps of financial freedom. We're going to talk about being a financial partner, helping you have a financial plan, and the most important thing, taking action on what you want to implement. I'm going to let Amanda introduce herself to the group and take it away.
Hi, my name is Amanda Smith, and I've been in banking for the past 18 years. And of those 18 years, I've spent 2 with BB&T Bank. And I can tell you, as the financial wellness consultant, each and every day, and sometimes twice a day, I'm out sharing information about financial wellness. So hopefully you find some information today that you find value, and please feel free to speak to us afterwards.
All right. And again, I'm Kamal Gasper, mainly throughout the state of Florida for financial wellness, but I'm based here in Jacksonville. So both me and Amanda are based here in Jacksonville. And perfect timing, Miss Monica Barnes. She's our branch manager at the branch around the corner, our Regency branch. So did you want to introduce yourself real quick? It's literally perfect timing.
Hello, everybody. Hello. I'm Monica Barnes. I'm the branch manager for Kendall Town Center right around the corner. I actually work with Brian with the chamber. So we're on the board together. So glad to be here. So I come here once a month in this room. So yeah. Happy to meet you all.
All right. So we've got to jam-pack everything into 1 o'clock. So what I will say is if you have any questions, please feel free to ask questions. We want to make this interactive. We want to answer your questions. The best presentations are the ones where you ask us questions. Someone else is probably thinking that same question, so feel free to stop us if you have a question that you want to ask. But I want to share some resources that we passed out. So this resource, it says take just 1 or all interactive courses. So one of our commitments to the community, well, BB&T has several commitments to the community. Our mission is to make the world a better place. Some of the things that we do is we train all of the principals. Right now we're doing North Carolina and South Carolina. We do a leadership training for all the principals because if the principals are better equipped to lead their teachers, then the teachers are better equipped to service our students. And another thing that BB&T is looking to do is we're looking to do a reading program for all 2nd graders because statistics show that if a 2nd grader is not at reading level by 2nd grade, they are more than likely or about 75% likely to drop out of school or not finish high school. So there's a lot of things that we do as a commitment to the community, and this is one of them. So you will have access to 23 different courses. This is called Financial Foundations. So you have access to 23 different courses. You can take these courses, family member, neighbors, friends. You can give this information to anyone that you like. And it has 23 self-guided courses that you can take on becoming a homeowner, rebuilding credit, establishing credit. And after you take each course, you get a to-do list or like a blueprint list of things you need to do or steps you need to take to become a homeowner one day. So this is pretty cool information. So we want to make sure that everyone got this information on our Financial Foundations flyer. And like I said, it's free even if you don't bank with BB&T. The second thing we want to make sure that we go over, this is pretty cool. It's the Retirement Resource Center. So BB&T has a Retirement Resource Center. Even if you are not a client of BB&T, you can call this free number and get advice on retirement. No one will try to sell you anything at this toll-free number. It is literally, they will ask you questions. When do you want to retire? Have you set your number? What does your 401k look like? What do your IRAs look like? And they help you put a plan together to save for retirement. If you're not on the plan for retirement, they will tell you, you need to do certain things, maybe increase your 401k. But they will literally go through the process with you to see if you are ready for retirement. And the cool thing is, again, you don't have to be a client of BB&T. We provide this service to anyone. And like I said, they will not sell you anything on retirement products. It's really consultative on what they're going to go over with you. All right. So on the presentation, so the first step is developing a budget. So who has a budget they would say they follow religiously that you've created, whether on paper or an Excel document or... Okay, so a little bit.
It's variable.
Yes, yeah. So we were talking with Mr. Larry, and
It's variable.
yep.
Religiously is not. Oh
Yeah.
my God, why am I out of money?
Yes.
Exactly.
So this is the foundation, and a lot of this stuff we're going to go over. It's basic information. We know it. It's just creating that plan and sticking to it. So developing the budget is the foundation. If you don't set the foundation here at the developing the budget stage, whether it's on paper, whether it's on an Excel document, a lot of banks now have the online banking to where you can categorize all your spending, and it makes it pretty clean and pretty neat. We do the same thing at BB&T, but this is the foundation of the 5 steps of financial freedom, is having that budget. Do you want to add?
So I do have a budget.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very conservative, I'll say that. But I actually have a spreadsheet where all of my bills are listed, and each time I pay them, I highlight them. So my budget is simple for me. It's just a reminder just to make sure I'm paying each and every bill each month. So your budget doesn't necessarily mean stay within your means. It can be just making sure that you're paying your bills on time.
And review your budget. We say every 3 to 6 months. So if you are overspending in a certain category, look at it 3 to 6 months. You really need to curb back. But put everything on your budget. Groceries, gas, food for work, everything. You got to be honest with yourself. Put everything on the budget. And after every month, take your bank statement or whatever process you have and put it together and see where you overspent, where you underspent, and make adjustments every 3 to 6 months. Cable is the big thing. Right now, do you need cable? So I didn't cut cable because I have to have all the shows. That's just one of the things. And we'll talk about paying yourself first, or it's okay to enjoy things. But I know that I pay too much for cable. So instead of getting rid of cable, I just took it down to the channels that I use on a monthly basis. I was paying almost $400 a month for cable, internet, and the home phone, which I don't even use a home phone. So I cut it back to where it's $150 a month, save $250 a month on that can go towards something else, money towards an emergency savings account, a vacation. I know the Starbucks thing, a lot of people talk about if you drink coffee, if I go to Starbucks every morning and spend $5, that adds up. Going out to eat adds up quite a bit. So just really being honest with yourself about having that budget and sticking to the budget. And it's okay to pay yourself first. If you enjoy nice things, if you enjoy shopping for new clothes or taking your kids to, Chuck E. Cheese or out to eat at the mall, whatever, it's okay. Just do your budget, and whatever you have left over is that money that goes towards that. So it's okay to pay yourself first and enjoy the things that you deserve in life.
You recommend tools like Mint that are free online?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mint.com is good. We at BB&T, most banks have it now. We have You by BB&T, where you can view everything that you've done for the entire month and categorizes it within the spending, if it's groceries or whatnot. So you have that in most mobile banking apps have that you can categorize your spending and take a look at it. Anything else you want to? Okay. So we passed out the budget worksheet. If you would like to, that's yours to keep. I know a lot of people like the Excel documents, but if you're old school and want to write everything out in paper, we brought a resource for you for developing the budget.
I can see come up. I can cut right now. Here.
Off the list.
All right. We're scanning through some of the slides because we're short on time. So step 2, if you have created the budget and you've laid that foundation, you're following your budget, step 2 is paying off debt. So this is the situation where it's going to help you as far as rebuilding your credit or establishing credit. Has anyone looked at their credit report recently? Okay, so it's good. Good. Everyone knows that when you are denied for credit, you get your credit report for free from, you get a free credit report anytime you're denied credit. And then also every year you get your credit report, not the score, but you are entitled to your credit report on annualfreecreditreport.com every year. So just we wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of that. I know you like to add stuff on
Paying off debt. Okay.
Yeah.
So I like to share this story in reference to paying off debt and not assuming debt as well. When I first started over close to 2 years ago, my first week was training in Orlando. And I have a car. My car, oh gosh, I'm at a car dealership.
Yeah.
I just realized what I'm about to say. Okay, don't judge me. So my truck is it was a 2006 Chevrolet Trailblazer. It was paid off, and of course, I don't like monthly payments. If I want to take a cruise or go out of town, I'm able to do so because I don't have a car. Just say it. But so when I was in training, of course, my car broke down. I was scared because this is my first week at work, and I don't have reliable transportation. I was like, he's going to get rid of me for not being able to go see clients. Well, when I went to Goodyear, and the gentleman came out, and he shared with me, I have great news, Miss Smith. And I was like, what's the great news? He's like, I can fix your car. I was like, okay, great. And he's like, it's going to cost you $2,000. Did y'all shop when I said $2,000? I'm like, wow, $2,000. I just started a new job. What am I going to do? So I had to make a decision whether I was going to go into a new car payment or whether I was going to pay the $2,000. Luckily, before I started working at BB&T, I put some money to the side, and I was able to pay the $2,000. So my point of my story is just making sure you're always ready and prepared for the unexpected. We never know when we're going to have the car trouble or, an unexpected expense comes to us in an unexpected time. So I was able to get back on the road and drive back to Jacksonville, but it did cost me $2,000. And I'd rather have a paid off car instead of having a monthly car payment.
And it's different for everyone. So we would just say, when we talk about credit, it's up to you how you use credit. Credit's not a bad thing. So I think a lot of people think, if I have credit and, I owe on credit, it's a bad thing. It's just making sure that you're paying the payments. So some myths are, you want to pay the payment a couple of days before the due date or before it's due because the credit card company or the company is going to report what the balance is the day that it's due. So if your payment's due on the 11th of the month and you pay it on the 11th, and let's say you paid it off in full, it's not going to show on your credit report as you paid it off in full because you paid it on the day that it's due. So I always say try to pay your payments 2 to 3 days before they're due so it reflects accurately on your credit report. On credit cards, a lot of people have asked the myth, well, if I close credit cards, does that hurt my credit? Or if I close a revolving credit account, it can, because how we look at the credit is that it's a certain amount of time frame as how long you've had the credit. So if you've had 3 credit cards, you had one since 2000, you had one since 2005, maybe one since 2012. If you have to close a card, close the one that was opened most recently, the 2012 one, because your credit is determined on how long you've had credit accounts. So if you have a credit card and it's at a zero balance and you're not using it, and there's no reason to close it, I would say don't close it unless you're getting an annual fee on the card. And if you are, maybe transfer that card to another company to where, or another bank where there's no annual fee on those cards. So
this is part of it too, how much credit you actually use. So if you want to actually keep your cards open, even if you're not using it, because it shows a smaller percentage of total usage.
Yep. Credit utilization, is it 30? Yep. So you want to try to stay 30% or less of your open credit that you use, and that also helps determine your credit score. Credit Karma, if anyone familiar with Credit Karma, when you go to Credit Karma, I think on the main page it gives you the steps of how credit is determined. It's a pretty good resource on there that they have, and it gives you all the bullet points on how credit is determined. So we give this scenario: if you had a if you had a $3,000 credit card as the original principal balance, and you only paid $50 at 17% annual percentage rate, how much do you think you would pay with interest on that card if you only did the minimum payments?
How much and how long?
Like how long it would take to pay it off?
Yeah, how long can you pay it off and how much?
And dollars.
3,000 in interest.
Oh, okay. You got 3,000.
You're gonna spend about $9,000 if you $50 a month. You're gonna spend about $9,000 counting the $3,000 balance. You're looking about $6,000 in interest.
All right. So let's see. So Brian was close. So $3,743 just in interest, and you still have to pay the original $3,000 of the original principal balance.
And how long do you think it's going to take you to pay it off?
4 years.
4 years? 5 years? 5 years? 10? Who said 10? 10 years?
11 years and 3 months to pay off the balance in full.
Yeah, it is. And I always tell everybody, it's very convenient to do an electronic statement for your bills. They've made it to where you just see the payment that's due, the due date, you just, make the payment. But if you actually look at your statement, it will tell you how long it's going to take you to pay off that credit card if you just do the minimum balance. So make sure you're looking at that as well. That's very important.
So a lot of people ask how to pay off debt. A lot of times when you get your credit report, you can Google letters to creditors if there's anything that you want to try to settle with the company. So I've done it before. I had a medical bill, didn't pay it, but I sent them a letter, or I even called. I think this one time I called and I said, hey, I can't pay the full amount. I think it was like $600 or something. I was 21 and I broke my arm or something. Long story. But so I didn't pay the bill, and I'm getting older and I needed to get my credit together. And I called them. I said, hey, I can't pay the $600, but could you settle with me for a different amount? So they settled for me for like $250, and they removed it from my credit. So a lot of times, if something on there that you didn't pay, you can creditors just want you to call. Just give them a call. Work out a payment arrangement with them.
Make sure they remove it from your credit.
And make sure they remove it.
Even if it's paid and it's still on your credit, it will hurt your credit.
Also, how to pay off debt. So a lot of people ask us, I'm trying to pay off my credit cards. What are some of the options do you recommend? It's really based on how you want to see the progress. So if you had 2 credit cards, if you had one at 18% or one 9%, some people say, should I pay the one with the highest interest rate first? Yes, because interest is accruing on it. But some people like to pay the smaller balances first and see the progress that they're making with removing things from their credit and paying the smallest balance first. So it's just up to you on if you do have outstanding credit cards, if you want to see the progress first, or if you want to go and take care of the larger balances with the highest interest. Totally up to you.
I'll share personally that for years I was paying off the credit card with the highest interest rate first. I can tell you it didn't really work for me. I've started paying off with the lowest balance, which is called the snowball effect, and it's actually changing. I'm starting to see bills actually, be eliminated quicker. So just research the snowball effect if you have any questions about it.
Secure cards are great if you're trying to rebuild or establish credit. Usually it's $500. I think we're $500, right? $400 that you put into a savings account. And we've seen individuals' credits increase within 6 months on the secure cards. So a really good resource for establishing credit. If you have children, nieces, and nephews also that turning 18, they need to establish credit. Secure cards are a really good way to go on that.
And I've also seen adding someone to a credit card that helps out. Has anybody ever done that before?
Both my sons.
I did it for my sister. My sister's credit was terrible, and I added her to my credit card. That's how I was able not to do
Years of high
it.
school. Add their name to their credit cards.
Yes.
They roll out of high school and college and all that.
Excellent.
700 plus.
And they didn't need you to co-sign on anything, correct? Best gift ever. But make sure you add them to a credit card that you're not really using. Because we don't want to hurt their credit. But we make sure I say that.
Anytime that like he bought like he liked like ATVs and dirt bikes and stuff like that. So anytime he bought one of those, he'd have use his son's information to basically co-sign for him, and then he'd pay everything off 100% on time and within the period. So when the kid turned 18, same scenario, he had like 700.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And he was ready to go do whatever he needed to do.
Yep.
Right out of high school.
Yep. And so we're going to step 3, but on step 2, if you just remember checking your credit regularly, you get the free report every year. Anytime you're denied credit, you get your report. So monitoring your credit, reaching out to those creditors and information that's not correct on your credit really will definitely help. Again, we've helped clients that have done that recently, and instantly within a couple months they see a big difference on their credit score. That after getting everything cleaned up and everything, there's a big difference. So alerts are a great way to protect your credit report. So that's an option as well, creating alerts in your credit report. And it's usually priced pretty reasonable to where it's not too much a month. But I was speaking to a client recently, and I think he paid like $9 for his credit anti-theft. But he had someone that opened 3 credit cards totaling, and he had a perfect credit score totaling, I think like $75,000. And if he hadn't had that credit protection, it would have been a complete disaster for him. So it's one of those things where you don't need it until you actually need to use it. But it is a good investment if you're looking to rebuild your credit or protect your credit. It is a good resource to have some type of credit monitoring service.
Yeah, that happened to me prior to me moving to Florida. The state of South Carolina, we do state taxes, and their IRS system was compromised. And so anyone that filed taxes, just so happened the last year I was there, filed taxes in the state of South Carolina was compromised. So they also provided us with free credit monitoring service. So it can happen all because you file for your taxes, and we all do that. And I didn't have anything to do with it, but someone was able to get into the system there. So just make sure if you don't have it, that is a good tool to have.
All right, so step 3. So this is the step where we see a lot of people kind of fall back into financial hardships. And this is probably one of the most important topics. It's creating an emergency fund. So which of these on the screen do you think is an example of an emergency? Losing job. Vacation.
I always say that. Nobody's
Legal issues.
Yes.
Medical.
Medical.
So everyone should strive to have at least 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses separate from a savings account. So if something were to happen, I think with the hurricanes last year, what happened if the hurricane directly hit or even, slid a little bit to the right and hit Jacksonville worse than what we got hit, and you couldn't come to work? What would happen? Would you have, I'm pretty sure Tom Bush would take care of you, but, what would happen if you didn't have that same amount of money coming in to pay bills? So even if you can't work because you have to take care of a family member that maybe has become ill, and a lot of people don't think about that if you're not able to work and maybe you go out on FMLA, which is not your full income, but what do you do about that other 40% that you're not making through FMLA? So medical emergencies, car repair, property damage. What we say is look at your financial situation, and if something were to happen where you're not working, do you have 3 to 6 months worth saved in an account? An easy way to do it is, take all your mandatory expenses like your rent, your mortgage, your lights, groceries, take all of that, figure how much that is for each month, and then times it by 3 or times it by 6. And then figure out a plan on what you need to do to have that amount within a certain time frame in a savings account. If you can't do 3 months, strive to start at 2 or strive to start at 1. If you can't even do 1, it doesn't hurt to put $50, $60, $70 away in a savings account because even if you have these emergencies that happen, at least you have some money to put towards that amount, and then maybe you can borrow money or use credit to pay for the difference. So this is a really important topic. You get a peace of mind if you have an emergency savings fund to where you don't have to worry or stress about certain things if they do happen. You've got that emergency fund set up. You want to add anything?
I would just say that that's the reason why I'm here. I was at a job for 11 years, and unfortunately, back in 2007, some of the banks failed, and that's what brought me to Florida. And I can tell you, luckily, I was able to save some money prior to the bank closing. But you never know. I was with someone for 11 years. You never know when it could be your last day, or you having to leave or you having to use your income due to a loved one. So I just want to say it's very important to make sure you always have money put to the side in emergency cases.
I'll tell you a personal story. I don't even know if you know the story. So my mom was a music producer back in the 80s and the 90s. We lived in New York. And she had her own music business. She didn't work for an actual company, and she did jingles. So back in the day, radio was still popular, more popular than TV. So in the 70s and 80s, she did major jingles for all the major companies like KFC, GM, Coke. And in the 90s, as television started to take over, there were less jingles happening. She did jingles mainly for radio. So we had a house in New York City, in Manhattan, on the Upper West Side. We had a country house in upstate New York, and money stopped coming in. Money was always coming in growing up as a kid, but because business slowed down, money stopped coming in, and eventually she had to file bankruptcy because we had everything, but we didn't have anything saved in an actual savings account. So when money stopped coming in, bills stopped getting paid. I can remember, back in the day, you had no caller ID, so you picked up the phone, and my mom would answer the phone, and she would say, she's not here, or that's my sister, and she's not here. I never realized as a kid, what was going on, but as a kid, you kind of think like, what's going on. I had a feeling that she was dodging some type of phone call. So I say that to say it's not about how much you make, it's about how you spend it. So a lot of people say, I can't, I make this amount, I can't save. But if you could just put, that $20 away, $30 away every time you get paid, don't worry about it, forget about it. Trust me, it will add up. You guys do the 401k here, correct? So hopefully everyone's taking advantage of 401k because that's the easiest way to save for retirement and build wealth. And that's to the next step. Yeah, it's free money. I will tell you, if you're not in the 401k, do it today, do it tomorrow, but don't wait. My first job was at Winn-Dixie, and I was 16. I worked at Winn-Dixie from 16 to 23, and every year I said I was going to do the 401k. Every year I left Winn-Dixie when I was 23 and never put a dime into the 401k. So that's my biggest regret financially, because everyone said, why don't you want to do the 401k? And it was just maybe an educational thing or a fear factor thing, but I just never did it. And looking back, I probably would have had about $50,000, $60,000 in a retirement account that I don't have today if I had started. So now I have to start and increase my contributions a lot higher than what I should be doing now because I didn't start early. So it's a good segue into tips for retirement. You want to?
Yeah, I can say that I attended. BB&T does a lot of seminars, and one of the seminars was Women in Wealth. And one thing that I learned from that seminar is that women outlive men by 18 years. And I can personally say that happened in my family. My mother is currently 73, and my father was 54 when he passed away. So went from a 2-income household to a 1-income household. So it's always important to, of course, save for your retirement because you never know if you're currently with someone, whether that income is going to be reduced to 1 income.
So how much do you think you should save based on these answers here? So definitely not A, but do you think you should save between 1 to 4%, 6 to 8, or 10 to 15? 10 to 15? Yep. So 10 to 15. If you can't do 10 to 15%, start at 2%, start at 3%, start where you're comfortable, and every year, see if you can increase that amount. So if you're at 2%, maybe next year increase it to 3%. What's the matching?
Let's test everyone. Where are we?
5%.
We'll match 50% up to 5%. So if you put in 5% of your income, we'll put an additional 2.5% on top of that.
Yeah.
So if you're not at 5, I think the new employees now start at 3. We auto escalate you every year up to 4, and then the following year up to 5 to get you to start moving up towards that full match, because that's free money you're missing out if you're not at 5. So
That's after 1 year of employment.
Exactly.
after 1 year, yeah.
That's how it's done.
Yep.
Now, so this probably could be unrelated to what we're doing. Can I transfer some, I had a 401k with a previous job.
Absolutely.
Once it's opened up here.
Yep. Absolutely. So that's why we gave you the retirement resource phone number. If you want to use that, I'm pretty sure your 401k provider has some type of phone number that you can call to get guidance as well. So that's another resource, but it's free money that you're just throwing away if you don't put into the 401k. Easiest way to save money. And again, like I said, try to increase it every year till you can get to that 10 to 15%. And it's one of those things out of sight, out of mind. So you'll forget about it. It's one of those things when you increase it, it may look like a lot of money, but eventually you'll just forget about it and you'll adjust. If you go back to your budget, there's something you can cut out in the budget to increase your retirement. So
What I like to do, and I'm sure Brian does this for you guys, so every time you get a raise, increase your 401k.
Yep.
You don't see it.
Yep.
We don't do it automatically, but we encourage them to do it.
So on the screen here, if you can avoid early withdrawals, I don't know if this is more of my generation, of the millennial generation. I know a lot of my friends, when they need money for a vacation, they go straight to the 401k and get a loan. And it's maybe it's just my friends. I don't know.
We have.
But nothing. It's one of those things where it's there if you need it, so it's not frowned upon. But you have to pay it back in a certain amount. Interest is incurred on it. So if there is an opportunity where you don't have to go to the 401k, it's kind of like one of those things with what I've seen in banking with the payday loans. You need it once and you go and get the payday loan. Nothing wrong with it because it's the service is there if you need it. But then you get caught into the trap of trying to pay your bills and it becomes routine. So just be mindful, when you're doing the early withdrawals, if you have to do it, just really sit down and think, is this the best situation? Am I going to be able to pay it back? What does that financial situation look like? Do I really need to go into my 401k and pull out money? There are ways that you can do it that you're not penalized to go in your 401k, and I believe it's something like some type of medical expenses. I can email you, but I know it's first-time home buyer. I believe if you go into your 401k, that's an eligible distribution. There's 3 of them that are in there, but I can email you.
And we have HSA set up too, so most
Gotcha.
employees
Yep.
can use that for medical.
Yep. So you have an option to do a high deductible plan, but is there a lower plan also?
It's mostly lower. There's a lower and a mid tier for HSA, I believe.
Gotcha. The HSAs are great because it is transferable to another job. It's rollover. You can roll it over, year by year. So you're kind of building that nest egg. If you don't have to go to the doctor a lot, you can put money aside for the HSA, and if something does happen, you've got that money that's saved in your HSA. So it's a really good option.
And it's the only financial device that goes in tax-free, grows tax-free, and you spend it tax-free.
Yep. You even can invest in your HSAs as well. So you can invest it. Even if you need to use the money, when you invest it, you can still get that money back. It's liquid, but there is an investment option on HSAs.
I was going to say, you can use it as a gym membership as well. A lot of people don't know that, but did some digging online for irs.gov. You're able to use it there.
All right, so step 5, we don't want you to forget about wills and beneficiaries as well. Really important. The state of Florida is not kind to probate if something happens to a family member or a loved one and you're not listed as a beneficiary. It's a very long process. But this question here is, How many individuals do you think don't have a will by percentage?
70.
So 61, close. A lot of people said 61. So 61% of Americans do not have a will, and 70% of Americans with kids under 18 do not have a will. So, step 5 is really important as far as it's very easy to get a will done. I've seen attorneys do it for like $100 a month, $100 to create a will, and it really puts you on that financial security, that path to financial security as far as a mindset. If something were to happen to you, you've got that laid out for your family. All your bank accounts, you should definitely have a beneficiary on your bank accounts, because even if the bank person knows you, yes.
There's a problem with that.
Yes.
I have been here.
Mhm.
Maybe not all this year. Beneficiary, they have another kind of form, and I've read all kinds of things about you have a difficult time getting your spouse's money out after they pass away. Yeah, because I've asked them to have a beneficiary. So my credit union has a beneficiary. So I'm slipping more money in there and putting out the other. Because I checked with them, they don't have a beneficiary.
Have you ever heard of it?
No, I don't have an account. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't happy with that when I found out.
Another question on
Yes.
beneficiary and as an HSA.
Mhm.
Since it's a health savings account,
Mhm.
and you list the beneficiary, but
Mhm.
you're saying, can they use it for anything other than medical expenses, or is it still tied to medical?
Still tied to medical, but
Still
they
tied.
you can use it for their expenses as well.
Yeah.
Anybody
Yeah, you can use it for anyone in the family. I know, like at BB&T, we give companion cards. So if you have kids, wife, whatnot, you can give them the cards, and they can use it. As like a companion card, so you don't have to go with them to the doctor. So if it's set up as a family account.
Same with the telemedicine. If you have it, it's $10 a month. Anyone in the family can use it for free.
But I know typically, to answer the question, we get the beneficiary information. You give their name, their social, address, phone number, and just let them know something happens to you. Have like a list that shows all the bank accounts and who's the beneficiary, so they know which bank to go to. You can even split it, so 50-50, 70-30, but the bank can do that for you on the beneficiaries.
Legal aid also does power of attorneys, wills, things like that for really, really, really cheap. So if you don't want to or can't afford to go to an attorney, you can try legal aid.
Saving for college, we have Florida prepaid here for in-state tuition and also out-of-state tuition. The best way to save for kids going to college. There's also the 529 plans and the Coverdale education savings accounts that you could use for sending children to college. And we also mentioned life insurance, really important. You guys have automatic life insurance for employees here.
Yeah, up to
10,000.
yeah, and managers is different.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you increase?
I heard that.
Can you increase the
Yeah,
amount?
you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That wasn't
Okay. One thing that we do life insurance as well at BB&T, but one thing they came and talked to us about life insurance because, believe it or not, as bankers, we still have these same issues, with everything that we talked about today. And the conversation was, of course, you want to have supplemental life insurance outside of the job. If you leave and you're older, it's going to cost more as far as how much you pay each month. But the other question they brought up was, should you max it out? Because I max out my amount to like $500,000, and it's very small amount. So it's only like I pay $7 extra to get up to $500,000. But the conversation came up, should you really max it out at your job? Should you get supplemental life insurance? Definitely, everyone for the most part will have the free amount that you get. That's part of your benefit package. But that was just a conversation they had with us. So it's good probably to talk to someone about, supplemental life insurance, but what should I do? Should I increase the amount if the job's offering more than the minimum? Should I take that, or should I just leave it at the minimum and get supplemental life insurance? So renter's insurance, very popular, especially with the hurricanes. But step 5, it's not the immediate as far as what you want to tackle, but at some point, depending on your situation, you want to start thinking about insurance. protecting your assets, especially life insurance. And, that's the final step to step 1 through 5.
And you can apply the wellness benefit at the end of the year to anything. Yep.
So anything you want to?
I wanted to hit back on, you talked about beneficiaries. It's very important that you add someone to if you're able to. I know in that case it's different because we've all been branch managers and currently one. And we can tell you there were times where someone would walk inside the bank and they would think that they were the beneficiary of an account.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out someone, of course, could have been divorced and never changed the beneficiary. And, of course, the previous spouse is now the person that receives the funds. So, it's the inside conversation that we deal with all the time. But we just, anytime we're doing a presentation, we like to always remember, update your information, even at work, your beneficiary information.
Yeah, it's a good time now. It's the middle of the year. I know we're doing mid-year reviews now, so they sent out an email the other day to say, make sure your beneficiaries are accurate. Mm-hmm. Our company's big on just making sure we're whole as individuals, so they, gave us resources like we shared today on the Retirement Resource Center, and just it's a good time now to really evaluate, how the first part of the year has went and what you can do to change for the second half of the year. So, should we get into the benefits?
Yes.
Okay. You go ahead.
Okay.
If you could pull out this flyer here, we just want to share some of the benefits that BB&T provides.
So we went over some great information today, and also you have your enrollment form in front of you. We believe that financial wellness is the key to everyone's health being. And the ways that we were able to do that, we talked about financial foundations earlier, as well as we talked about having a financial partner. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you with any financial questions that you may have. So we don't expect anyone to have any questions in this group setting, but that's why we're here afterwards. If you want to have one-on-one conversations with us, that's something that we said today that meant a lot to you. We would love to be your financial partner and hold you accountable. A lot of times we say that we've been with this credit union or been with a bank for 10 to 13 years. And my question to you is, when's the last time your financial institution held you accountable? If you're currently looking to retire, have you sat down and spoke to someone about, are you ready for retirement? If you're looking to plan a wedding, or if you're in the middle of having a baby. So you ask your question, has your financial partner sat down and talked to you about different ways that you can improve your financial wellness? If not, that's what we're here for. We're here to help you take advantage of some of the benefits that you currently have. If you look at the flyer, it talks about our Elite at Work checking account. Our account, as long as you have a direct deposit of $750 or more, is considered a free account. Some of the perks that come with the account is free money orders, free official checks. You're also able to get a free safe deposit box. So if you have any personal items that you hold of value, such as jewelry or birth certificates or so forth, you're able to keep that in your safe deposit box for free. We don't charge you for that. We also allow for you to go to 4 non-BB&T ATM machines per month. So if you're like, I'm not close to a BB&T branch, but I would love to withdraw funds out of it, we're able to help you with that by waiving 4 of the fees for you. We believe with our mobile app, You by BB&T, it allows you to see your current credit score. So Kamal mentioned earlier about your actual credit report. Our app actually lets you see what your current credit score is. So if you're like, I want to improve my score, our app allows you to do so. It also allows you to log in and see your other bank accounts. So if you're currently with Bank of America, but you're like, I want to maintain that relationship, but I still want to move my relationship over to BB&T, you're able to log into other accounts as well. The thing that I love to talk about is Zelle. Has anybody ever heard of Zelle before?
Want to be Venmo?
Yeah, I want to be Venmo.
Okay. So we also partner, and we have that option to where, let's say you're at work and maybe your spouse or your kids or someone needs access to funds. You're able to send money to them by your mobile app. I can tell you yesterday, I sent Kamal, I Zelled him some money because one of our coworkers' birthday is today, and I forgot. Was that the last one?
You were.
I was, okay. I forgot to put money into the pot for my coworker to get a gift card. So I just immediately put in his phone number and sent the money to him through the mobile app.
But it's better than Venmo because he gets it instantly, right? You don't
Yes.
have to then transfer and wait.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's minute. You know, I know the old-fashioned way of going to the bank and sending a wire or going to Western Union and paying fees. We actually give you that capability to do with your mobile app. And if you love some of the things that we talked about today and are interested in starting a new relationship, we would love to help you with that. Simply just fill out that form that has the highlighted items, and we'll be more than happy to help you with that today.
In the beginning, we talked about, having a partner, a plan, and action. So I would say we're going to do several of these lunch and learns, but just think of if you have that financial partner at your bank. If you do, that is great. If you have a type of wellness account with another bank, that is great. But you may have a question later on that we talked about today or as we come back and revisit. So that's why we brought Monica out here, because she's the local face of the area. So we really want to connect you one-on-one with that personal banker. So like Amanda said, if you have any questions, you know who to call. You've met that person. You have that person's phone number, email address that you can make a one-on-one appointment with. And then on the benefits, a lot of what we talked about today is the benefits help you save money, protect your money, what we talked about, provide that convenience. It really is our top account that we have at BB&T, and it's part of the wellness program. So when we do presentations like this, we go over the account because it's a part of the take action part of it. We believe with all the benefits that we provide, it helps you save money and provide convenience. And one of the things that people ask us, what if I were to leave or retire? You don't lose the benefits. The benefits stay with you, so you're grandfathered in. And on the account, family members, spouses, if you do joint banking, they also can receive the benefits of the account as well. So that question comes up as well.
Monica's branch is, you guys know, the Walmart on Monument. Right in front of that is a BB&T. That's Monica's branch.
Yep.
Any other questions, guys?
Can I have another one of these?
Yeah, Sean?
Yes.
Oh, we have one here.
And if you can email those to me, I'll put them on send them an email or Facebook, whatever. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you, guys.